the man who refused to carry a gun and saved 75 lives. In the final, blood-soaked months of the Second World War, when survival depended on firepower and brute force, one American soldier entered battle without a weapon. It was 29th of April 1945 on the island of Okinawa, and the United States Army was fighting its way up a towering cliff known as Hacksaw Ridge. As bullets tore through the air and men screamed for medics, one unarmed soldier stayed behind when everyone else retreated. Little did they know, what happened next would become one of the most legendary acts of courage in military history. His name was Private First Class Desmond Doss, a combat medic assigned to Company B, 1st Battalion, 307th Infantry Regiment, 77th Infantry Division. Unlike every other man in his unit, Doss refused to carry a rifle. A Seventh-day Adventist, he believed deeply that taking a human life was a sin. To many soldiers, this made him a liability. He was mocked, threatened, and even accused of cowardice. But Okinawa was no place for cowards. It was the final barrier before mainland Japan, a battle American commanders believed could decide the war. The Japanese 32nd Army, commanded by Lieutenant General Mitsuru Ushijima, had transformed Okinawa into a fortress. Thousands of troops hid inside tunnels, caves, and reinforced bunkers carved into limestone ridges. The Maida Escarpment, later nicknamed Hacksaw Ridge, rose nearly 400 feet straight up, dominating the surrounding terrain. Control of this ridge meant control of central Okinawa. For the American infantry below, the climb itself was deadly. For those who reached the top, survival was far from guaranteed. By 1400 hours, American soldiers began scaling the cliff using cargo nets, while Japanese artillery rained down from above. Mortar shells exploded against rock faces. Machine gun fire stitched across the nets. Men fell, some screaming, others silent, plunging back down the cliff. Still, the survivors pushed on. Once atop the ridge, Company B advanced barely 200 yards before the Japanese launched a ferocious counterattack. Grenades flew from hidden positions. Automatic weapons opened fire from caves barely 30 yards away. Fear gripped the men as the line collapsed. The order came quickly, and without debate, retreat immediately. American troops scrambled back toward the edge of the escarpment under intense fire. But dozens were left behind, wounded, bleeding, and unable to move. Some had shattered legs, others had massive chest wounds. Cries for help echoed across the ridge. Desmond Doss watched as his unit disappeared down the cliff. He was now completely alone. Japanese soldiers were advancing, bayonets fixed. Artillery thundered in the distance. The air reeked of smoke, blood, and cordite. Against impossible odds, Doss made a decision that would define his life. He stayed. Unarmed and exposed, Doss crawled across the battlefield under constant fire, treating the wounded where they lay. One by one, he dragged injured men toward the cliff edge. Using a rope, knotted by hand, he lowered each soldier 400 feet down the escarpment, praying the rope would hold. Each rescue took several minutes. Each minute increased the chance he would be killed. At one point, a Japanese soldier fired at him from close range and missed. Another grenade exploded nearby, spraying shrapnel into his legs. Still, Doss refused to stop. After lowering one man, he whispered the same words every time. "Lord, help me get one more." For 5 brutal hours, Desmond Doss repeated the process. Crawl, drag, treat, lower. Darkness slowly fell over Hacksaw Ridge, illuminated only by tracer rounds and burning flares. Japanese patrols searched the area, unaware that a single American medic was stealing their victims away. By conservative Army estimates, Doss saved 75 wounded soldiers that night. Some accounts say the number may have been higher. When dawn broke, the ridge was silent. The battlefield that had claimed hundreds of lives had been robbed of dozens more by one man who never fired a shot. What happened next would become legendary. Just days later, Doss returned to combat. During another assault, a grenade exploded near him, severely wounding his legs. As medics moved to evacuate him, Doss spotted another injured soldier nearby. He insisted they treat the other man first. Moments later, a sniper's bullet shattered Doss's arm. Using a rifle as a splint, ironically the first time he touched a weapon, he crawled 300 yards to safety. Only then did he allow himself to be evacuated. Desmond Doss would never fight again. But his war was already won. The Battle of Okinawa would claim more than 12,500 American lives and over 100,000 Japanese soldiers. It remains the bloodiest battle of the Pacific War. For his actions on Hacksaw Ridge, Desmond Doss received the Medal of Honor. On October 12, 1945, President Harry S. Truman personally awarded him the medal, saying, "I consider this a greater honor than being president." Doss became the first conscientious objector in U.S. military history to receive the nation's highest award for valor. His courage silenced every critic who had once doubted him. Desmond Doss proved that heroism does not require hatred, rage, or a trigger pull. Sometimes, the greatest courage is choosing mercy in a world consumed by violence. This was just one of countless untold stories from the Second World War. Subscribe to our channel as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters of history back to life.